Hello, everyone. Happy Saturday, and welcome to this live recording for my podcast called Live Notes with me, Larissa. And I have been interviewing fine arts industry professionals. And today I have a very special guest, my amazing boyfriend. And M. Brooks, my boyfriend, is a musician, singer-songwriter, and he also helps visual artists craft their narratives for exhibitions and their work. So M. Brooks, Michael Brooks, if you could first introduce yourself and let my audience know a little bit about how you got into the arts and music.
Yeah, well, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining us online. My name is Michael Brooks, but I make music under the singer-songwriter. The question is, how did I first get into the arts? Oh, wow. I think my mom signed me up for violin lessons when I was about 5 years old. And this did not go so hot. I guess I just didn't have the right Suzuki teacher. Maybe if I would have had things would be different, but I switched from violin to guitar at about the age of 9, and also was doing a lot of creative writing during my childhood, and those things kind of funneled through formal education and through opportunities and doors that God opened into different jobs in the arts.
Yeah.
So,
and for those of you watching who don't know me, I am a violinist. So
she's a very talented violinist.
Yeah. Bummer that you quit the violin though.
I think it was meant to be.
So when did you start playing the guitar?
I was 9 years old. So yeah.
And you took private lessons, or
took
you
some lessons? Yeah.
Did you did a lot of self-taught stuff too?
I came more later, but yeah, I did a lot of lessons. I had a teacher who was pretty good on classical stuff and teaching us how to read notes in theory. I actually had a blind guitar teacher who taught me how to play by ear and listen to things and hear them out. And then I had another guitar teacher as well, who actually was one of the first people to get me into recording stuff when I was about in 7th grade. He had this little recording machine. They probably don't even make them anymore because the computers can do everything. But yeah, he had one of those, and we would record different tracks, and he showed me how to loop things over. So yeah.
Very cool.
Yes.
And another thing that we're going to talk about, and that is very exciting today, is that Michael has a new album coming out that he has been working on for about a year.
Yes.
And I've actually been able to play in a few of the songs,
yes,
which has been very fun. And one thing I forgot to mention at the start of this as well is, as you guys are watching, please think of questions that you have for Michael here and submit those in the comment section. And at the end of our interview, I'm going to go through and ask Michael all the audience questions that we have submitted. So be sure, if you have a question, if you think of a question, definitely submit something. But again, back to Michael's new album. You go by the name M. Brooks, correct? So can you talk about the album, the process, what this last year has been like for you?
Yeah. So I brought a copy of the CD. I'm 83% of revenue in the music industry came from streaming last year, but I'm still old school enough that I think it's fun to print CDs. I just love to hold the physical thing in my hand. And so, the album is called Art from Darkness. I can move it a little closer to the camera there. But this guy is going to come out on April 2nd. So not too long, next Friday, this upcoming Friday. And some of these songs, Larissa, I wrote even 10 years ago. Some are about 5 years old, and some of them are a little bit more fresh than that. But yeah, over the last calendar year, even during the pandemic, I have been able to record at a home studio in Holland, Michigan, where I live, with some just incredibly talented people, yourself included, and to finish this project. So that's been great.
Yeah. And your first album, what's your first album called?
The first album, I brought another CD copy of that as well. It's called Wild Shores, and it is an exploration, kind of just hope and resurrection, is mediated through some of the landscapes I've lived in, especially living so close to the shores of the Great Lakes here.
Mhm.
So.
And what can you talk about for your first album and your second album, the difference in the recording process?
Yeah, wow. The first album was, I think, nothing short of miraculous in terms of the recording process. We recorded in a commercial studio in Kalamazoo, and I had, oh gosh, I think I had 8 musicians on that thing, myself included. I'll double count and then probably missed 1 or 2. But we did that whole album, Larissa, in 16 hours.
Yeah.
So we had everybody drive to Kalamazoo in a couple of minivans, and we did one 12-hour day where we recorded all 8 songs and just, just banged them all out there. And then I think 2 of the vocalists and I went back for another 4-hour session, and that was the end of Wild Shores. We did it all that way, mostly because of budget constraints on my end. Just wanted to do it under budget. But yeah, with this project, I think it's the difference between a meal that you kind of make in a hurry and more gourmet food or things that go into a crock pot. So yeah, we have literally been recording Art from Darkness for a calendar year. You and I played, we recorded the track Laughing Bells in February of 2020. The pandemic hit and we took 2 months off, no recording, shut everything down, and then came back to the game with some distancing, some better protocol on stuff. And we were able to record the rest of the 12 tracks in that 10-month period. And so it was cool to be able to sit with things a little bit longer. I worked with Dwight Beal, who is kind of a music legend here in Holland, Michigan. Dwight is incredible. He's so talented. And he has both, he's playing on the album, he's playing the piano on a few songs, but he's he's mixed and mastered this whole thing. He's recorded the whole thing. And so Dwight's got a great ear for kind of helping me bring in some other instrumental parts. And I think just being able to sit with him in his home studio and bounce ideas off of each other, it just felt a lot more organic. It felt like it came out of a place not of something I'm trying to industrially do in a hurry, but something that's come out of friendship with him, friendship with all these musicians, and kind of the vision that I had in my head for the whole album. So yeah,
very cool. And one thing I also wanted to ask you is specifically about your work with visual artists.
Yes.
So can you mention how you got involved in that, what you're doing for them, and working on not only the music side of the arts, but also the visual side of the arts?
Yeah. So most of my schooling is actually in writing. And I might even put that as one of my main arts up there with the music. I think songwriting is just another avenue that writing can take place. And I started working with a visual artist named Zach Love shortly after I graduated from Hope College. And we worked together on a number of projects. I helped him write a little bit of his life story, and we've done all kinds of work over the years. In the last couple of months, he's connected me with another visual artist named Devin Diarden, who's so talented. He has a new show coming out called Umgestalter. And I've been working with Devin to help develop the narrative a little bit for his work. And I've been working with Zach for years and years. And so these guys are incredibly talented, and it's so fun to just bring a different side of the art, the writing, to all the amazing work that they're able to do on canvases, mixed media, and digital designs as well. So
very cool.
Yeah.
And one thing that has been so fun in my live interviews on this podcast that I'm doing is I have had 22 other guests who are musicians, composers, digital creators, conductors, arts managers, And it's been so fun talking to all these different people and learning about how they got into the arts, what the arts are to them. And Michael here is, I would say, the most interesting guest I've had on the podcast so far. I'm biased because he's my amazing boyfriend.
A little bit.
But apart from that, like you were just talking about, he is writing. He's writing for visual artists. He's working with visual artists. He's writing songs, playing songs, singing songs. So the musician side, the writing, the visual arts, you're like the full package. You're like, got it all going on here.
Say I'm a jack of all trades, but a master of none. I just dabble a little bit and everything.
Yeah, you're definitely a master. That's okay. So if you guys have questions, again, for Michael about any of these different arts realms that he's involved in, think about those, submit those to the live. We're going to have time at the end to answer your guys' questions. Before we get into that section, though, I would love to hear from you about can you let people know how to find your new album?
Yeah. So the new album is called Art from Darkness. I have physical CDs for the people who live in the West Michigan area. Message me on Facebook through my Brooks music site. But all the music will be available on most streaming apps, Apple Music, Google Play, Spotify, as well as YouTube on April 2nd. That's the digital release date. I do have the physical CD copies printed already. So maybe if you guys are watching this, and you live in the West Michigan area, hit me up and I can connect you with a way to grab one of those maybe before that release date. So.
And I'm playing on it.
And she's playing on it, and she sounds incredible. So.
It's been so fun. And as a classically trained musician, one thing that has pushed me out of my comfort zone in working with Michael is that he improvises a lot of music and plays stuff really well by ear. So I have learned a lot more from playing with you about how to just like go play something on the fly. And I think I've gotten better at doing that. Yeah, for sure. Because my training, I'm reading Beethoven sheet music and Mozart, and Michael does write some notated sheet music.
She taught me how.
And that's been helpful. So like one of the songs that you first asked me to play on, or when you were composing it and writing it in your head, we were hanging out one day and trying to notate it so I could remember it more easily and just look at a piece of sheet music and play it. So, but then I stepped out of that and have just been playing more and more with you by ear. Yeah. And the first song on this album that's releasing, it's in the key of F sharp, which is literally the hardest key for me to play on the violin.
And I asked her to improv. I didn't even give her time to do that before she jumped in the studio. So when you hear Larissa playing that song, that's all stuff she made up on the fly. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you're so good.
Yeah. So it's been a whirlwind. It's been really fun though, as a classically trained musician and violinist, to push myself out of my comfort zone and play more things by ear and improvise. And I love playing with Michael. It's so fun. Sometimes we lead worship together and it's just really, really fun. So definitely check out Michael's website,
mbrooksmusic.com.
Yeah. And the new album's going to be out on Spotify.
On Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube. On April 2nd.
Yeah. Okay. So I do want to go into some of the audience questions we've got now. And then I have one more wrap-up question.
Okay. Yeah.
So I'm going to approach the screen here. And we have 3 devices going. We have YouTube on my laptop. We have Facebook Live on my iPad. And we have Instagram Live on my phone. So first I'm going to go with the Facebook questions. Okay. So we have Nathan is sending you love and prayers. Nathan's first question is, what is your personal favorite song from the new
Oh, that's
album
not a fair question.
and why?
Maybe I should start with a little bit more of the heart behind the project, and I think that will help answer the question. The project is called Art from Darkness, and it comes from something I heard God say to me once, which is that my strength was going to be watching how He would take the darkness in my life and make something beautiful out of it. I think that's the central message of the gospel. And God has done that in my life in so many different ways. So a lot of these songs explore just moments of brokenness in life, moments where we feel ourselves as the recipient of darkness or the agent of darkness even. And then taking those moments in music and trying to explore them and see where's the beauty. What's God doing to make something beautiful out of those moments of pain in our own life? And so I think there's a lot of songs on there that are kind of a scattering of these moments, but near the end of the album, it starts to resolve and push away from those brokenness, and it kind of just turns into praise. Mm-hmm. And so I think there's a song called Love So Pure on the album, and I think that's kind of the flip moment in the album. I think it's track 9. And it's where we kind of just say, okay, I've journeyed through the valley of the shadow of death, and now I can just stand and see all the brokenness, but see beauty within it. And that's the song where we just kind of celebrate that. A lot of people are playing on that, and I think it's really fun, really accessible. So, I mean, they're all my favorite, but I think that's the one that I'm like really excited for everybody to hear. Okay. Because I feel like they can just enter into it.
Yeah. All right. So hopefully that answered Nate's
Sorry,
question.
That's a long answer.
If you guys have more questions, keep sending them in. Okay. Omer said, wow, I made it home in time to watch this.
Hi, Omer.
Awesome. Hi, Omer. Hope you're well. Paul asks,
okay,
Michael, who are some contemporary musicians inspiring your work today?
Wow, that is a great question. There are, I think, a couple that I would point to. One is John Foreman from Switchfoot. I mean, I have like looked up to that guy since I've been 14 or 15 years old, in different seasons, and I loved Switchfoot. You know, when they were, I still do. They're amazing. But they, John Foreman also branched out and started doing solo album work. And just his dynamics, doing more scaled back acoustic projects really inspired me. But it's the fact that guy just keeps churning out music. He keeps churning out covers. And I love his message and how accessible it is. So I would say John Foreman. Sufjan Stevens is a huge inspiration of mine, how he understands dynamic. I would say the Welcome Wagon is another incredible band. Probably put Josh Garrels in there too. He's a huge influence of mine, as well as some of the collaboration work that Josh did with John Mark McMillan on the latter's Lightning Sessions. Some big musical influences.
Awesome. All right. Are coming in. Your uncle, Mark, asks,
yes.
or he says, I'm so very proud of both of you. You're both so inspirational for many people. Love you guys. Oh, thank you.
Mark. We love you.
Hello from Michigan. Hope you guys are well. Zach asks,
yes.
Or no, he doesn't ask. He says, love you, dude. Keep going. I'll be listening to the CD as soon as it drops.
Yeah, awesome.
Okay. My friend, hello, Amanda.
Okay.
Now we're on Instagram. My friend Amanda, who was also a guest on my podcast, and she lives in Germany. She's also a singer-songwriter.
Really?
She sent in a question.
Yes.
She says, I hope it's okay that this question is for both of you. What are your favorite parts of being a musician couple?
Oh, wow.
Oh, I like this question.
You go first then.
I just love that Michael and I can share music together as a couple. That's very like general and like cliche, But the fact that we are both, we have a lot of training in music and can speak that same language.
You more than me, even.
In different ways.
Yeah.
In different ways. So I think partnering with you on creating music is just so fun. Like, it's just fun to be able to do that with you.
Yeah.
But yeah, how about for you?
Well, I think so much of relationship is communication, right? And I think we're pretty good communicators. But I think the beauty of being a musical couple is when you play music together, there's like an intimacy that transcends language, and you're able to speak through kind of the notes and chords of what you're playing, and just be able to speak in ways that words can't. And I mean, I'm a writer. I make my living on words, you know. So, but music just goes even deeper than that.
Yeah.
So.
Aw.
That's a great question, Amanda.
Yeah, thanks, Amanda.
Yeah.
That was a great question to ask. Okay, so I think we have one more question that's been submitted so far. And it's from my mom, and she asks,
oh, great.
Are you planning your next album?
Always. Yeah, I'm already thinking about it, but it's kind of, I mean, I don't write songs. I don't, I'll sit down to intentionally write a song, but a lot of times I'll just be messing around with the guitar and the song comes to me and the idea comes to me. And I think a lot of creatives feel this way, not so much that they're putting forth, I mean, they are obviously putting forth effort, but so much of it is just being a receptive vehicle. Your mom also sent me a book by Madeline L'Engle called Walking on Water, and she explores this idea in the book as well, that we are kind of recipients for this creative energy, and when we're open to it, it kind of descends on us. And so, yeah, I would say there's a number of songs that I think will end up forming album 3. And they've kind of fallen out of the sky into my heart and on my guitar strings. But we're probably gonna wait. Yeah, we'll see though. You never know.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, so that's all the questions that the audience has submitted so far. If you guys think of anything else, send a few in. We have a few more minutes to go here.
Okay.
But my last question that I have been asking all of my podcast guests is, why do you think the arts are so important to our society?
Wow. Okay. That's a big question.
It's a big question.
But I think I want to tackle it on 2 tiers, if that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
And the first tier is the individual level. And I'd say for the individual, the arts are so important. I mean, the central message of my album is very much in line with the message of Christianity, which is there is a God who makes something beautiful out of what's broken. But even if a person's not a Christian, I think that they can partner with a similar narrative, which is for the individual, the arts are the ability to take raw materials of our lives, our brokenness, our pain, our sadness, and put it into something creative, so that energy ceases to be a destructive force, and it starts to be a personal fount of healing and goodness in the world. And so I think for the individual, the arts are so important because it allows us a chance to craft beauty out of what life sometimes deals us. Mm-hmm. On the societal level, I'll quote. I have my phone pulled up here. Oh no, I went past the quote here. But I like Russian writers, and there was a Russian writer named Dostoevsky who once said that beauty could save the world. And there's another Russian writer named Alexander Solzhenitsyn. He wrote the Gulag Archipelago, as well as A Day in the Life of Ivan Denisovic. And Solzhenitsyn actually quotes Dostoevsky when he was, I think he was accepting a Nobel Prize in maybe literature. But I read what Solzhenitsyn said from Dostoevsky here, and I think it answers your question for the societal level. So this is a quote from Solzhenitsyn. He said, Dostoevsky once let drop the enigmatic phrase, "Beauty will save the world." What does that mean? For a long time, it used to seem to me that it was just a mere phrase. How could such a thing be possible? What had ever happened in the bloodthirsty course of history that beauty had saved anyone or anything? Beauty had provided embellishment, certainly, given uplift, but whom had it ever saved? And he goes on to say this. He says that there was this old trinity of truth, goodness, and beauty. I think older philosophers tapped into that narrative a little bit. And he said, perhaps the old trinity of truth, goodness, and beauty is not just a formal an outworn formula that is used to seem to us during our heady materialistic youth. And this is what he says. He says, if the crests of these three trees join together, as investigators and explorers used to affirm, and if the two straight branches of truth and good are crushed or amputated and cannot reach the light, perhaps the whimsical, unpredictable, unexpected branches of beauty will make their way through and soar up to that very place, and in this way perform the work all three. And in that case, it was not a slip of a tongue for Dostoevsky to say that beauty will save the world, but a prophecy. And I love that because, I mean, we're in such a time of societies fragmenting all around us. Things are falling apart. There's all norms, and we're about to, explore a brave new world together. And I don't see that in a pessimistic way. I think there's tons of opportunity to do amazing things within that. But I think that these writers are onto something, that our collective pursuit of what's beautiful can sometimes also speak what is good and true. And in a world that's really torn by a lot of political faction and a lot of strife and a lot of fatigue over this pandemic, I think we need more beauty. So, yeah.
All right. So that was it, guys. But guess what? M. Brooks brought his guitar. So we have some music.
And Larissa brought her violin.
That could be played. But thank you guys so much for tuning in to this live recording of my podcast. If you missed the whole thing, it's going to be up. It's going to be on YouTube, on my YouTube channel, Larissa Fall. You can check my website, larissafall.com, for the link to my entire podcast series, which, excuse me, can also be found on Spotify. Just type in Live Notes with Larissa. And thank you guys so much for tuning in. Go check out the new album that's going to come out.
Art from Darkness.
Art from Darkness by M. Brooks.
On April 2nd.
Yes. And we're going to play a little snippet of the album.
Yeah. We're going to play a song called Even Wolves. So
thanks for watching.
We need to switch spots, don't we?
Oh, yeah. Should I move? I'm going to move this so it gets you a little more.
Do you need an A?
Sure. Thanks.
Okay, let's do it. I should have seen right through you. I should have seen right through you. 'Cause even wolves learn how to wear the wool of sheep to hide their hair. I can't make excuses. I was looking for the answers instead of the fruit. But I don't know within, and you should know. If you swing by this house, give my sheltering, then I'm not picking up the phone. I'll pretend like no one's home, and I will barricade the door, 'cause you're not welcome anymore. You're not welcome anymore. You're not welcome. You're not welcome anymore. You're not welcome. I should have seen. I should have seen right through you. I should have seen. I should have seen right through you. Deceiving wolves disguise their flaws. They mask their scent and hide their claws. I can't make excuses. I was looking for the answers instead of the truth. And I don't know anything, and you should know. When you swing by this house, give my sheltering, and I'm not picking up the phone, and I pretend like no one's home, and I will barricade the door, 'cause you're not welcome anymore. You're not welcome anymore. You're not welcome. You're not welcome anymore. You're not welcome. My good shepherd heals his sheep, binds their wounds and splits their feet. He carries broken lambs to pastures where they could run. He cleans the blood from in their wool, lays down his life that theirs be full. He takes the shame that they should bear and clothes them in white coats. Even wolves are privy to transformation through his truth. Don't look any further. I am living proof that I owe you my life. I know you know that I'd be dead if you left to my own devices. So I worship you, my Lord. You are the gate, you are the door, you are the righteousness I lacked. Now you're welcome anymore. You're welcome anymore. You're welcome. You're welcome anymore. You're welcome. Even wolves are privy to transformation through his truth. Don't look any further. I am living proof. That was great.
Yeah. Good job.
You sounded awesome.
You too.
Okay.
Thank you guys so much for watching.
Yeah, thanks guys.
Yeah. And this podcast will be up very soon on Spotify. And thanks for tuning in. And have a great rest of your Saturday.
God bless.
Bye.